All right, guys, it's Friday. Welcome in. It's time for Total Bases. We've made it to the weekend almost, the final show of the week. If you're new to this show, we're here Monday through Friday every day, 9 a.m. Eastern, to talk baseball with you guys for an hour right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. So we kind of started the show backstage, and I kind of was like, oh, maybe we should go live and talk about this instead of just the three of us, without doing it on air. So we're going to start with Braves Mets. Bryan, Leonard, I just grabbed my tickets for the Syracuse Mets game tomorrow night. I'm going to go see Jonah Tong pitch in what, if the Mets are smart, will be his only appearance in Syracuse, because they're on the road the next 2 weeks. And if this guy is not on that big league roster by September 15th, seeing what they've got with him as someone that could potentially help this year, that's a big problem in my opinion, because the Mets have problems right now. Suddenly, a team that was 20 games over 500 is now battling it out for the final wild card spot. And I'm a big believer that they need to lean into these young starters, or they might not make the playoffs this year. It is a massive series for them in Atlanta starting tonight. How are you seeing this one, Mets Braves?
Yeah, McLean getting his second start with the Mets looked really good in the first one. Unfortunately, I think when a right-hander comes up and has success first time out, especially if he's a touted prospect, I believe he's number 64 coming into the season in Major League Baseball. He was the Mets' number 3 prospect. When they have success right out of the gate, it puts a lot of pressure on him, and it also makes the betting line a little bit valuable here for Atlanta. They got Wentz going, who's a lefty, and we're seeing Wentz right now at about a 110 favorite, total 8.5 to the over. I think McLean's the real deal. The problem is, how do you trust this Mets team? They continue to find ways to lose, and we talked about this. They left the pitcher in too long once again, Manea yesterday, and the coaching staff is doing a terrible job on this team. If you ask me, I just don't think they're doing well. They've got all this big money into this team, a lot of veteran players. They should not be losing the games that they've been losing. The Reds are only, I believe, 1 game behind them now in the last wild card spot, and I'm rooting for Cincinnati. I grew up in Cleveland. The Reds were in the same state, so we'll see how it goes. The Mets are much better than what they've been playing. I'm very disappointed in the way they've been going, but McLean against Wentz here. Wentz is a guy that really has been a reliever for much of his career. Came over, I believe, from Detroit to Atlanta. He's looked pretty good so far in the starting rotation. McLean comes in just the 1 game. He threw 5 1/3, struck out 8, 1.13 whip. His expected ERA was 2.86 in that game. He does throw 6 pitches, which is rare for a young guy like that. And his 4-seamer, which is at 95.5, he only throws 10% of the time. So you got to like that. I think he's the real deal. I think he will perform very well for them. I'm just afraid the expectations are so high after that first game. Joey Wentz, 4.72 ERA, 4.09 expected, 1.38 whip. Great extension, 93rd percentile, but his average exit velocity is only in the 12th percentile, walk rate 14th, hard hit 23rd. He only throws 4 pitches, and the change he only throws 1% of the time. So basically he's a 3-pitch pitcher, with his 4-seamer being the number 1 pitch, throws that 46% of the time. That's always a concern for me, especially when you're going against a veteran team like the Mets. Your total is 8.5 to the over here. Atlanta's usually a pretty good hitting ballpark. Let me take a look at the park factors for today. It's basically playing a true even. It's like minus 1% overall for runs. So I would expect this to be a high-scoring game, even though the Mets bullpen should be great. But we will see. At 8.5 here, I kind of like the over here. The Mets have not been that great of a hitting team off and on. They've done really well. Then they do bad. They're very consistent. But if I had to play this, I would play the over here. Getting 9 runs would get you that victory.
Yeah, I don't have a big read on McLean. Isn't it interesting, though? Remember way back before the All-Star break when I went on a rant about how the Brewers season is over? That in that series, the Mets beat them. And since that series, the Mets have gone plummeted downhill. I said right during my rant that they're a World Series contending team. They're far from it now. And the Brewers have World Series aspirations at this point. So what a different trajectory for these two teams, just opposite directions. Mets are spiraling, terrible coaching. I'm not real high on the Brewers coaching either, but look, the Brewers are smashing it, but the Mets are smashing it right now too. I got the Mets ranked number 3 in current form, and I got the Braves ranked 2 in current form. So I certainly would concur with an over in this. But the Mets bullpen is not performing very well, where the Braves bullpen is. So that would kind of look. I don't have a read on McClain, but I do have a read on Wentz. He's had 4 starts where he pitched over 5 innings, and he only got blown up in one of them. And that was against the aforementioned Brewers. So I have a little faith in Wentz. I would take the Atlanta Braves team total over perhaps in this one. That would be the way I would go. I haven't played it yet though.
There's a good chance I have this one up for sale. But if I end up with another play, I'll probably put the other play up for sale. So I'm just going to give it to you. Mets 4% client play will be my parlay leg. And listen, I agree with, so something Bryan said, and now I can't remember if we were talking or if he said it on the show. I haven't had enough caffeine yet this morning, but he's right. The Mets are, it's the coaching that's a problem. Now, if they ask me to coach the team, which they're not going to do, but I am right here in their, in Syracuse. I could be at the AAA ballpark in a few minutes. I'd be leaning into the young pitching. I really think that that's the Mets' path to victory is leaning into the young starters that they have in their organization and taking some of these guys that have underachieved in the starter role and turning them into long relievers and just being like, hey, like we're still very much in the mix. TB, you said the Mets were a contender, said they're not anymore. I somewhat disagree with that. Like there's still a lot of season left. Like if this team figures it out over the next couple weeks, the Mets are still very much a contender. And I think their path to do that is to lean into these guys that the league doesn't know much about, like a Nolan McLean, who I think my guy Colin Gregory in the chat was like, he's the real deal. Yeah, like this, he's going to be very good. Now, to Brian's point, could he get hit at some point? Like, is he going to come up and just not give anything up for, probably at some point, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a second good start here. He looked really good in his debut. He's been great at the AAA level. His stuff is very good. Why not? Why can't he shut a Braves team down that's 9 games out? Yeah, you know what? You know what's funny about the Braves? They've played as good as they've played. They're still nowhere near being in the mix. I think that's going to start wearing on a team at some point with veteran guys like they have. Like they've played as good as they could play. They're still nowhere near being in contention. I still think you're going to see the Braves sort of mentally check out at some point. I'm not saying it's here, but I do think that they will. Colin said, thanks for the confirmation. Going to up my bet now is my biggest lean already. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm still a believer in the Mets, and I'm going to lean into the young pitching because I really like McClain. And on the other side, Joey Wentz is fine, but like what they've been getting out of Wentz is unrealistic, I think, to think he's just going to give you 6-7 innings of 1-run ball in a lot of these starts. I mean, I don't mind him as like a guy that like comes out of the bullpen for 3 innings and shuts a team down one time through. But like some of these outings are just not like the Brewers game that TB brought up is what I kind of more expect from Wentz as a starter, where he maybe he goes 6 innings. He's going to give up like that one gave up 5 runs. The Rangers game, he pitched 4 1/3, gave up 4 runs. That's kind of where I have him as a starter. If you're going to throw him in for 3 innings, yeah, he can wipe a team out for 3 innings. But as a starter, I still think he gives something up. And I'm looking at the teams he didn't give anything up to. The Royals, well, they don't hit lefties. The Marlins, okay, Marlins can be hit or miss, right? Like the Marlins, sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. And the Guardians, who couldn't be worse, right? Like that lineup is atrocious. So I'm going to pump the brakes here on Joey Wentz a little bit. I think the Mets can get to him, and anything strong from McLean is going to put this team in a position to win. And maybe they'll luck their way into a win at the end of the game. Like they've had leads. They've been right there at the end of some of these games, can't get across the finish line. But I do think that changes as well. There's too many good relievers for it not to. So Mets client play and the first leg of our parlay. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Riley, they have mentioned that he is having surgery. He will not be back this year. That he's been out for a while, but still, that hurts him. And it would not shock me if some of the other veteran players for the Braves, as the season goes on, get less playing time. That said, if the Braves are going to get up for any games, it'll be against the Phillies and the Mets. Those are the two teams that are the big rivals in the division. So that'll come later. But right now, the Met, and it's for the Mets in the play. If the Mets get in the playoffs, nobody's going to want to play them. I'm just telling you that right now. Everybody's rooting for Cincinnati to get there because Cincinnati, I think, is without the playoff experience, without the veteran experience, they won't have as much success in the playoffs. So, but good luck on that. I won't be involved in that one myself.
So it looks like it's Colin and I, and no one else. That's fine. Colin and I will bet the Mets tonight. There is some serious, like, I always like laugh when it's like someone's like, Adam must have a relative on the team. I got to be honest, I could care less about any of these 30 teams. Like, that's the one thing when you grow up in Albany, New York, we don't have a team. So it's like you kind of just become a baseball fan. Like a lot of people become Yankees fans, but like I never really had a team. Now, the reason I feel like I probably am sharper than the market on a guy like Nolan McLean is because I now live 30 minutes from Syracuse, and I've watched him at the AAA level probably more than the books have. So guys get called up, and I feel like the books kind of don't know how to price them the first couple times around. I'm willing to bet on the thought that he is like better than the average person coming up. I think his ceiling is potentially like number one, number two type guy. I think I saw something that SNY tweeted out about the spin rate on his slider or his curveball was like one of the highest in the league this year in his debut or something like that. I'll have to go dig up that tweet. Listen, stuff like that. The books are reactive to guys getting called up, okay? That is probably the biggest edge you will find betting Major League Baseball, which is a tough sport to find an edge. TB and I will find edges in Korea, Japan, AAA. The edges are more pronounced there. In the MLB, the books are very good, so I feel like you have to take advantage of stuff like this, and I'm going to try to take advantage of it tonight. So, listen, if you're with me on the Mets, great. If not, doesn't matter to me. I'll be on the Mets regardless. Okay, let's go back to another big game. I think we got this one. Well, I think Bryan got this one right yesterday. And I said there might be some late runs, and there was. Red Sox Yankees got over at the end. And I believe, Bryan Leonard, that you kind of liked over there. How about Roman Anthony? I don't think that ball has landed yet. I don't know what Yuri De Los Santos was thinking when he threw that pitch, but that was just an exclamation point that I believe put the game over in the top of the ninth inning. Red Sox take the opener. Do the Yankees with Max Fried on the mound bounce back today?
Yeah, I had somebody go into the chat later on in the day and talking about it, and he mentioned the wind was blowing in a little bit. I says, yeah, that was probably enough to keep me off of it. I liked it. Just about everything I liked on yesterday's show worked, except for my free play cost us a parlay. But yeah, we had a really good day overall. Just about everything we liked cashed. But yeah, this is a different game today. I like the Red Sox in this one. Anytime these two get together, for the most part, I like to play the underdogs. And since the second half started, Bryan Bello has been so much better than Max Fried. Max Fried has been a bad pitcher the second half of the season. And yet he's taken money after what I thought was a high overnight line of 170. Now I'm seeing, up to 190 in some places. I don't understand that one at all. I have very, very much interest in the underdog here. Brayan Bello, 3.23 ERA, 4.41 expected. Granted, he's due for some negative regression, and that tells you that. His whip is 1.26. His whiff rate is low. His strikeout rate is low, but he does throw 6 different pitches, although the slider just 1% of the time. His four-seamer only throws 16% of the time, and it's league average. But when you go with Max Fried, his numbers were fantastic early in the season. They have not been nearly as good as of late. In fact, let me look that up here on Baseball Reference, another great website out there. Let's take a look at what he's done is of late. Since let's go back his last 5 starts, give up 4 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 7 earned runs. And he had only once has he gone more than 4 1/3 inning, or excuse me, 5 1/3 innings. He has just not been good. Everybody thinks he's going to bounce back. It would not surprise me if he goes on the IL, if he does not pitch well in this game here. His stats on the season will be pretty good, but all that happened early. 3.26 ERA, 3.65 expected, 1.12 whip. So his regression is a little bit negative here. He throws a lot of different pitches. He throws 7 different pitches, although the slider only 2% of the time, or it could be the slurve, but they got an SL and an SI, so it's probably the slurve. But regardless, he has not pitched well as of late, and there's no way he should be in this price range. Let's take a look at the first 5 here and see if we can make something out of this for Boston. Let's take a quick look at the team total. Boston is sitting here, team total in the game of 3.5 even money. I want Boston. I put that down as my parlay thing. Boston team total over 3.5, and that's minus 110. That's crazy, especially you talked about the way Boston's young hitters are playing. Now they brought in, a cast-off from the Washington Nationals. He's your starting first baseman against lefties. He'll probably come off the bench here, but this Boston team's got a lot of depth offensively, and I'm just not a big believer in Fried. And normally I pay a lot of attention to these line moves, and unless there's injuries out there that I haven't read about yet, why would I not play Boston here? This is kind of a crazy line if you ask me.
Yeah, guys, I'm pimping tonight. It's Friday night in Japan, and I won my only Major League Baseball play yesterday, which was the Royals. I figured they would come back because they were the better team. And I won both of my KBO plays tonight, so I'm feeling good. And I'm not drinking Fireball, but I did drink Fireball before the show. I just can't do it in front of you. So, regarding this game, I'm gonna have to go against Bryan here. I like the Yankees a lot here. I like them for 2 reasons. One is the way Fried has pitched against the Red Sox in his career. Really good numbers against them in 40 at-bats against a 175 average and a 677 OPS. I like that a lot. And he's a pretty good home pitcher as well. I agree with Bryan, though, and my numbers agree with Bryan, that Bayo is actually a better pitcher than Fried. I do agree with that because the numbers show it, and his expected numbers are much better than Fried's actually. His numbers against the Yankee batters are fairly good. So it's not a high confidence play. But the second reason I like it is because the way they lost yesterday. They're just finding ways to lose, and their bullpen is more talented than this. Luke Weaver is not as bad as he's been pitching, but man, he's been bad. I think he's actually a good pitcher, though. I don't know what's going on over there. Williams was a great pitcher until he came to New York. I don't know what's going on, but I think they have too much talent in their bullpen. And I do, even with all the blowups and all of the errors, I mean, you got guys throwing the ball into space on double plays. It's like, what are you doing? But I still think Fried will hold him down. If you can't put balls into the field, then the Yankees can't screw it up. So I kind of like the Yankees here. Not a huge confidence play, but I think they're going to take this one at least.
I'm going to go back right to kind of my opinion yesterday, and I won't break the tie. I'm going to let you guys both have your thing. I'm going to say over again. I don't see why there wouldn't be runs in this game again. 18 hits in yesterday's game, yet there really wasn't a big inning. Every inning was like, every scoring inning was like 1 run. And it, like I said, it took the Roman Anthony 2-run 700-foot homer, which was awesome. You should go, if you haven't seen that, just go watch it like 10 times on repeat. I think I've watched it 20 times already. And I wouldn't be surprised, Bryan, if he gets one a little high and tight tonight for that bat flip. He just kind of threw the bat in disgust at how far he hit that ball last night. But the reason that's important is that put the game over. And I feel like it barely went over, but the game itself had 18 hits. So there was more scoring. And then you talk about, look at the guys that came out of the bullpen last night. Chapman, Whitlock, Matz, Weissert for Boston. The Yankees used Duvall, Leiter, Weaver. A lot of bullpen arms used last night. So I wouldn't be surprised. And you're getting that 8.5 number, which is so important when it comes to totals betting overs, because it really is like there's so many ways to get to 4. And if you get to 4-4, it's a win, right? Like it's like the difference between 8.5 to like 9.5 when you're talking totals and betting overs is so massive that I feel like when you can find an 8.5 and then one priced at -110, because that's the other thing. Usually the 8.5 gets juiced, but it's not going to get juiced here because you got Fried. And then I'll just sort of lean into Bryan's sort of belief that Fried may be a little bit overvalued at this point. I think 8.5 is a great bet in this one. And again, this has the feel of like playoff baseball, where if it is a close game, it's a big time leverage spot. And it's like, it's tough to get outs in those spots. The big leverage spot at Yankee Stadium Friday night, important game for both teams. So it's like there definitely could be some runs late. If you don't get them early, I think over 1/2 is a very good bet here. Go ahead, Bryan.
I just want to, both of you guys have a habit of saying what's on your mind. So I'm going to say what's on my mind here.
Let's hear
it. Jazz Chisholm came out yesterday after the Yankees had another 4 errors and said he thinks this infield is full of Gold Glove contenders. He has said a lot of dumb things in his life, and that's just the way he is. He's a happy-go-lucky guy that does that kind of things. This may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard a baseball player say about his team. Now, granted, he's trying to build them up a little bit, but he's part of the problem. He's a terrible fielder. The shortstop, I don't know what he's doing now, but he was leading the league in errors earlier this season. They just, the infield, the defense is terrible. The outfield, they're playing Stanton in the outfield. The rookie couldn't play the outfield. That was the problem coming into the season. This could be one of the worst contending teams defensively I have ever seen in Major League Baseball, and it is going to come back and haunt them. They're bad base runners. They don't play defense. They're all a bunch of big name guys living off their reputation, and they're in New York City. They may win it all. Who knows? But that is a dumb quote.
Let me up that. Aaron Boone yesterday in his post-game interview in his post-game, whatever they call it, interview, said that the Yankees fielding is on par with other teams in Major League Baseball. This is how disillusioned this team is. They're got to be the worst fielding team. They look like the Bad News Bears. It's really comical. So until like the first step of recovery is denial, or the first what you know what I'm talking about, AA meetings or whatever. The first step to recovery is recognizing that you have a problem. Yeah. They haven't recognized it yet.
So someone in the chat said Stanton is not a bad fielder, and now I need a wellness check on Sean because I think he had a heart attack. Because I pretty much did when I saw that as well. Dude, Stanton
my grandma fields better than that guy.
I mean, he just can't move.
She's dead.
He can't move anywhere. Like he can't cover any ground. Like he probably grades out toward the bottom of anyone that you would put in the outfield at this point because he can't cover any ground. So yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. My dead grandmother covers more ground than Stanton. And I'll go back to something I've said since last year. They are such a fundamentally poor team, but last year they got away with it because that's really how good that Yankees team was last year. Like let's look, that team made it to a World Series. Very, could have won the World Series if a couple of things broke their way. And they were fundamentally as bad as any team in the league. Well, now they don't have Juan Soto, and now they're the caliber of the roster caliber is a little bit less. I think it's glaring. Like this might be the worst fundamental baseball team of all 30. and it's really starting to show now. Oh, we are fired up. It's Friday, and like this is great. That's the New York teams will do that. They really bring out like they really piss people off. I've noticed that. Yet you bring up Yankees or Mets, and people really have an opinion.
You got to stop being fans if you're going to win at sports betting. You can't do it.
Yep.
You just can't do it. Brian doesn't bet on the Guardians every day. You can't do it.
That'd be broke.
Everyone needs to exhale. So let's talk Pirates Rockies. How about that? Colin.
That's a good exhale.
Colin, Bubba Chandler Day. Yeah, I told Mallory, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be around this weekend. I'm going to the ballpark like all weekend because I thought we were going to get Bubba Chandler here tonight. I've changed my plans. I'm just going to go to the game tomorrow because Bubba Chandler is no longer in Syracuse. He's joined the Pirates, and it looks like they're going to give him the Braxton Ashcraft treatment, which is long relief out of the bullpen. Well, that's pretty interesting because Braxton Ashcraft, I believe, is the starter in this game. So if you're unfamiliar as to what the Pirates have been doing with their young stud pitching that probably should be starting games, it's bringing them out of the bullpen because, again, why play to win games in Major League Baseball for some of these teams? Now, Ashcraft, after his purgatory was finished, he's now the starter. And what that means, Brian Leonard, is you are likely to get Braxton Ashcraft to Bubba Chandler tonight. That sounds pretty friggin' good. The problem is not much value in trying to back that because they play the Rockies. So how do you attack this one?
One last comment. Stanton is in the first percentile in sprint speed. He is very slow. He'll catch the ball, it's hitting right at him, but he's not what you want in the outfield. Okay, getting to this one. This one jumped off the page of me. And Colorado Sensatella, who we've been betting against all season long. He's been terrible. He did come back from the IL and pitched really a pretty good game for him last time out. Braxton Ashcraft, who is, I found out last time, he is not related to the Ashcraft for the Reds. But he's going today, and we're looking at anywhere from 182 to 194 on the Pirates as a home favorite. Total is 8.5. Normally, if Sensatella is not on the mound, I would be at the sports book right now, putting whatever I could into the machines before they open up and getting money on Colorado because there's no way Pittsburgh should be favored in this range against anybody. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. Colorado's 7-3. Granted, Colorado's playing home, but they're playing the Dodgers. I mean, Colorado's playing some pretty good ball, but if you take a look at the standings on the season, Colorado right now on the road, 16-46 on the year. They're a bad road team every single year. We talk about it coming into the season. Right now, Colorado has been outscored on the year by 332 runs. The next worst team in baseball, the Washington Nationals, minus 151. And the Nationals at one point were somewhat around the 500 range. Now they're 23 games under 500. So they're if you take a look at the way the Nationals have played over the last month, they could be the worst team in baseball. But I can't trust the Rockies because they're so bad on the road. I can't trust them with Sensatella. But how the hell can you lay this kind of number with the Pirates? I'm not getting involved in this one. There's no way I can get involved in this. There's a lot of good games on today's card, by the way. And I do have a 5% going today. Another winning day yesterday. I've won 11 of the last 13 days. And you want to grab that 5% now is I think it's going to move. So I'll get that right now. And, nothing on this game for me. Just too many questionables.
Yeah, Brian's got a 5%. He's got a lot of winning days in a row. I am plus 98 units this year, number one at Wager Talk. And I think Adam is number one either the last 3 or 7 days, something like that. So all of us are having pretty good stretches here. Go to our pages down there. It's in the scroll. And you can go to just wagertalk.com and click experts. You'll see our free plays up. And I guarantee you Brian has a free play up. I have a free play up, and Adam probably will too. So check out what we got, guys.
I already gave out a play I should be selling. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But check our pages out, guys, and leave a comment on the replay here. It helps Wager Talk know that baseball is better than football, and It also lets them know that you guys like our show. Because they're not watching it right now. So let them know that you like it. So on to this treacherously horrible game. This is one of those games where you have to cover the logo. The books are giving way too much credit to Ashcraft here. Yes, he's had a couple of good starts, but he has not gone into the fifth. He's gone in the fifth inning once. Oh, Andy's watching. Okay. So he's not gone into the fifth inning in any starts but one. So he's going to, I don't think, even though it's the Rockies, I don't think he's going to have one of those 7-inning games. He's never had one. And this is one of those games where you have to cover the logo. If you cover the logo, you'll see that the Rockies are hitting number 11 in all of Major League Baseball right now. Granted, some of those numbers are skewed because they came off a series at home in that monkey park with the thin air like the moon. But their bullpen is actually number 10 in Major League Baseball in current form. So if you cover the logo, you would think they're like the Reds or something, but they're not. Their bullpen's actually better than the Reds, but their record is not quite where the Reds' record is. So the Rockies are not actually that bad, but their starter is. So how do you approach this? Well, the Pirates' bullpen is ranked 22 right now, and their hitting is ranked 26, according to my numbers. So I would not trust the Pirates to win the game, especially at that crooked number. But I do like the Rockies' team total over 3.5 here. You could even alt it down to 2.5 and still get it for -160. I think that's pretty good value. But as a professional handicapper, I can't be recommending you to do -160s every day. So I think the Rockies over 3.5 is a pretty good play here. Yes, Ashcraft is pretty good, but he's not going to last the whole game. I expect him to go 4 innings. Maybe they'll score 1 run, maybe they'll score none, but they certainly can score 3 runs or more on this horrible bullpen. That's how I would do it.
I'm actually number 1 the last 30 days, 46-24 plus 60.82 units. So it's been a good run. I needed all 60 of those units because I did not have a great April and May. So we're getting them back. It's been a good stretch, despite the fact that I haven't had a great week in MLB. Seem to be hitting everything else. So listen, wins are wins. Can't complain. Earlier in the year, I couldn't lose an MLB game or I couldn't lose an MLB and I couldn't win in KBO. Now I'm having a nice run in KBO. So it is what it is. This is not a spot where I would worry much about the Pirates bullpen because they've pretty much told you it's going to go Ashcraft to Chandler. And I don't think the Rockies hit Bubba Chandler. Like I'm shocked that he's not starting. Like I'm really surprised they're doing this with him. Ashcraft wasn't quite as highly touted coming out of like through their farm system as Chandler was. I felt like Bubba Chandler was like a lock to get called up and just thrown right into that rotation. So it'll be interesting to see how he translates to like bulk relief. I will point out that this last sort of 2-month stretch has not been great for him at AAA, but I also think he was just bored. Like I really think Bubba Chandler in his head felt like he should have been on this Pirates roster in April or May, because he was very good in the minors last year, and he came out of the gate as the best pitcher essentially in AAA this year for like the first 2 months of the season, or one of the best. I really think he was just like, what am I still doing here? We're 20 games under 500. I'm watching like bums get starts for the Pirates. Why am I still down here? And you know, that can wear on a guy. So I think you're going to see him perform well at the big league level. And I'm not a big team total guy. So like I was going to say, I'd probably go head to head with you, TB, and play Rockies team total under, but that's just not really my style. I don't know exactly what I would do with this one. Honestly, I think I'd find someone to pair the Pirates with in a parlay. I can't lay a price with them, but I think especially if the Rockies took some money and this gets down to like -175 or something, -170, if you could parlay them with some, I mean, if you could parlay the Pirates with someone like, let's say, the Rangers, maybe, and get like better than even money, it's not the worst way to play. But other than that, it's just the books have really sucked all the value out of this one. If you like the Pirates, and that's unfortunate because I think Ashcraft to Chandler's a great setup for them. All right, let's see. Let's Okay, Mark Hinson. Let's get Mark Hinson in the mix here. He says, can we cover Phillies Nationals next? Yeah, that's a good game to talk about. The Nats come off of a couple of impressive results against the Mets. The Phillies look as good as any team in baseball right now. They just disposed of Seattle like it was no one's business, and that's a good Seattle Mariners team, Bryan Leonard, that needed those games. Are the Phillies peaking here from a value standpoint? Are you trying to go against this team at this point?
No, especially against Washington, and they're going to really need a good effort out of Cade Savali tonight to keep this one close. We've got Philadelphia, Taijuan Walker going, and whoever thought I would be interested in Taijuan Walker in this day and age, but he's been one of their better pitchers. He's been very good. The current line is roughly about 185, let's say, against Savali, and the total is 9.5 to the under. Savali's been good so far, and he's a guy that I'm really rooting for because he's now age 27, and he's been a top minor leaguer for years, but he's always had problems with injuries. So far, so good in the majors. He got in 3 games, 2.20 ERA, 3.46 expected. So he's been a little lucky, 1.29 WHIP. But take a look at this Washington bullpen. Kind of crazy because this Washington team, I just mentioned how bad they were. They now scored by 151 runs on the season. They are not used to using the back end of the bullpen, and it is shown. The last 2 days, the closer through 35 pitches in 2 games. Henry, who I really like, a young guy here, he threw 39 the last 2 days. Poulin pitched yesterday. I didn't even know who he was. He picked up on the waivers from Detroit. He threw 13 pitches, and then Clayton Beater, the old, I believe he was in the Yankees organization.
Yep.
And I think the Dodgers are the one that originally signed him, but he threw 20 pitches. So they're really hurting out of the bullpen. It would not surprise me if the old Cleveland Indian and former Chicago White Sox Plankinton would come in as their closer tonight, and that's not good. He's not very good. In fact, if you take a look at his overall rating, he's the 422nd best closer or best relief pitcher in baseball. So I'd like the Phillies to score some runs here. I use this as my free play on the site today. I played the over 5.5 runs here at plus money. You can get them at 4.5 and lay a little bit here, but I think they're going to get to Savali. I think Savali's been pitching over his head so far, and they're going to have to use him for at least 5 innings, probably more in this game to give that bullpen a little bit of a rest. And Walker's pitching very well. The bats are hot as hell for Philadelphia. I think they have a really big offensive day here. I like Philadelphia. Don't want to lay the 185 or whatever that's out there, but if you can get 6 runs out of Philadelphia today at plus 110 or better, I think that's a pretty good bet.
So this is what I love about this show is I was kind of on the fence about this game because I don't know enough about Savali. From what I've seen, he's pitched really well, but he hasn't gone really deep, but he doesn't walk anyone. He's got good K rate and things like that. So, comparing these teams next to each other, I mean, the Phillies are top 6 at everything. I'm with Bryan here. I've never been a Taijuan Walker fan, but this season he's kind of turned me around. He's got great command. He's not walking anyone. And, this is what I like about the show is, we can learn something from each other. And I actually learned something from you guys in the chat as well. You guys are the most educated chat probably on any Wager Talk show. So we appreciate that. I think I will go with Philadelphia now after hearing Bryan's analysis. One thing, you guys know I make a chronic walker list. Taijuan Walker is the opposite of a chronic walker. He's a chronic non-walker. Let me see my numbers here. He is actually walking only 1.02 guys per game. And Washington only walks 2.3. They're a very low walking team. So I will certainly play Taijuan Walker's walks 1.5 under if it's 1.5. Sometimes the books catch on and put it 0.5, which I would not play the under on that. Taijuan Walker walked 3 Washington batters in his 3rd start this season at home. Since then, he has not walked more than 1 guy at home in any of his home starts. So I think the under walks here, and I actually like Phillies on the money line as well. Cool gambling trick. Just take a -1. You can take 30 to 50 cents off the price. So Phillies -1 would be a good bet here.
We got to show some respect to. It's Cade Cavalli. We have an Aaron Savali who we don't want. I'm sure he doesn't want to be compared to, because Aaron Savali is not what he's aspiring to be as a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. But Cade Cavalli, former 1st-round pick, he is a guy I'm kind of rooting for, because I got to see him a bunch in Rochester, and he had the injuries, and now he's sort of getting his chance. I got to say, Bryan, as I'm watching the Orioles game last night, I ended up on the Orioles yesterday, and I should have listened to you, because Brandon Young got bombed. Now, I thought the Orioles were going to do more of the bombing. They did not. But Cavalli is in kind of a similar spot here, where his last start was against the Phillies, and it was really good. Cavalli's last start was 7 innings of scoreless, 7 innings of shutout ball against this Phillies lineup. I am very, very certain that that's not happening again. Now, Taijuan Walker might not shut down the Nats, because the one thing the Nats do well is hit right-handed pitching, especially right-handed pitching like Taijuan Walker, where he's not really overpowering them. Like, that's the one thing I've noticed with Washington. Now, to Walker's defense, he just pitched against the Nationals, and he pitched into the 7th inning, only gave up 2 runs on 6 hits. But, the Nats have now seen him a couple times this year. I think they scored 4 against him earlier this year. And this is kind of like the one thing the Nats lineup, I feel like they have success, is when they get these right-handed pitchers, because they can stack their lineup with pretty much all left-handed bats, that aren't going to just blow them away with super high velo. So I think you do get some runs from the Nats tonight. But I mean, the Phillies right now, man, it wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't if Cavalli is not, if he gets into a little trouble early, there could be the floodgates. It feels like the floodgates are opening often for Philly in their home ballpark, where they have been as good of a team at home as anyone in the league since the beginning of last year. I'm kicking myself in hindsight for playing the Mariners twice earlier this week. I don't think I gave Philly enough credit for just that knockout punch that they seem to have in their back pocket when they play at home, where it's it might be a 4-3 game in the 8th, but very quickly it's an 8-3 game, because they get a couple base runners, and then Schwarber hits one to Camden, New Jersey. So that could very well happen here. But also, the Nationals are going to probably contribute to this total. I don't think that they're going. I don't think Walker's holding this lineup down. 3rd time seeing him this year. They've gotten some hits. They tend to hit right-handed pitching better. So I'll call this one an over. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, I just wanted a little bit of the teaching segment here. Walker, going all the way back to 2021, he never even threw a cutter. Now he throws it more than anything else. And just last year, he threw it 137 cutters over the course of the entire season. That was his, that's his 6th most thrown pitch. Now it's his top pitch, and he's thrown it 457 times as opposed to 137. His expected WOBA on this is 285. This pitch may have saved his career. And you find the older guys, he's 33 years old. They've got to go out there. You take a look at his four seam. Only throws it 9% of the time. It's only 92.3 miles an hour. When he was young, I remember back when he was in Seattle, and Marco and I went down to spring training. Great ballpark down in Peoria. The Padres in Seattle share it. Great food there. And of course, that's really important to Marco. He's a food critic. But basically, he's a totally different pitcher. He's reinvented himself. And with this cutter, he's become a much better pitcher. And so a lot of times you'll find a lot of guys as they get older, they find new pitches. You see it with Verlander now, based on the way he pitched yesterday, the day before. I think he's done, but still, You've got a Walker who I think is redefining himself, and it doesn't help that he has faced this team, as you mentioned before. But when he plays somebody who is maybe an interleague game, I'm looking to play on Walker, and I think he's going to be very good in that situation.
It's such a good point. I feel like that's one of the most underrated, like, handicapping tools that you can have at your disposal. And this is what you get from like watching spring training baseball. So like people are always like, well, like, why would I watch spring training baseball? Well, you know, like how do I like learn anything from that? Spring training broadcast, one of the things they talk about constantly is pitch mix. Mm-hmm. Oh, this guy did this to his pitch mix. And that is like, it is so incredibly important because there is zero chance the books are pricing any of that in, or they even know. And really these all, and TB, I'm sure can expound upon this too. These guys are so good that like literally the mix of pitches that they throw and when they throw them could be the difference between having a sub-3 ERA or getting completely blown up. So when I hear guys like had some favorable results, like tweaking their pitch mix, it's always something I'm interested in. And yeah, like if you were ahead of that and you kind of like were front running that, you've made a lot of money betting Taijuan Walker this year. Because I mean, based on past stuff, you wouldn't have projected that this would happen. Another guy that comes to mind is Brady Singer. He had his little lull, but he improved his pitch mix, and the results have been overall pretty good. So that's a great point, Brian. Really good point. Andy Lang is in the chat. He says, listen, the three of us are always going to be baseball guys. I'll die on the hill that I think baseball is a better betting sport. I think there's more potential to make money in this sport than football, where
no doubt.
Yeah, it's very tough to unless you're getting down on FCS or you have really good info in college football. It's a very, very tough sport to beat. It just is. Our guy Fez will tell you that's why they offer the minus 103, minus 105 lines both ways on the NFL games. Can't beat it. Like it's just a really tough thing to beat. But if you are into football, Andy Show, Wager Talk today, they are loading up the guests, great football guests, pretty much daily on that show. And that is right here at noon on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Okay, just a diabolical comment here. The kid says MLB is better for laundering money. I don't know if we can talk about that on this show, but just an insane comment, which I love. So thank you for
NFL would be better. They take a whole lot more money in the NFL than they do
that's true.
Major League Baseball.
All right. Andy Lang says he can't wait for the parlay. Let's not keep him waiting, even though we still have 12 minutes left and we might be able to get to 2 games. Tokyo Brandon, do you know your parlay leg? And is it a game have we talked about it yet? Or do you want to throw a game out there for everyone?
We've already talked about it. I'm going to go against you, Adam. I'm taking the Rockies over 3.5 as my parlay leg.
Okay.
Yeah. They're just cover the logo. They're hitting number 10 in MLB. They're crushing it right now. And I think they're going to keep crushing it. I love their young guys that they've injected into that lineup. And guys like Moniak and those guys, they're hitting really well right now. So, they don't look like the Colorado Rockies. So I'll take their over 3.5. Right. They're on the road. They get 9 innings.
Yeah. And just to like go back to that for a second, like that's a game I have a very, very slight opinion in. Like I won't be betting Pirates Rockies today. So I don't want to, I don't want to like put you off of that just because I think Ashcraft Chandler could be a nice combo, because really Ashcraft and Chandler could both pitch well and the Rockies could still get to 4 runs. Like that's not, that's not crazy to think. We will circle back and read the parlay off again at the end of the show. Let's get to one more. What's up?
Did Bryan put one out?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Boston team total over 3.5 at -110. Current number on the Colorado team total over 3.5 is -105. You can actually get them at even money if you shop. And the Mets I saw was basically +103.
Yeah, I saw. It's by the time we go read it again, it's probably going to be even money. I saw that it looks like there's 2 groups battling that game because it hit plus money. It went back to the Mets. It's that'll be a fun one to see where the money goes in that one throughout the day. I thought it would have been on the Mets, which is why I released it already. But I wonder if someone faked it to get more down on the Mets, or maybe people just want it. Maybe there's groups that just continue to want to bet against the Mets. Maybe they're making money doing that. You'll see that sometimes where like a syndicate type group, if they'll just play against the same team every day. And maybe it's the Mets right now. Have Cash wants to know any opinion on Twins White Sox. This is an interesting one because both of these teams are kind of managing their organizations like AAA right now. We are in full developmental mode with Twins and White Sox. The problem is the White Sox are trying to develop at the big league level. For whatever reason, the Twins are not doing that. They have, I would say, a handful of their best players are still at AAA. Why? I'm not sure. But as far as this matchup is concerned, Brian, Sebby Matthews is a guy I'm interested in. But again, like in the price is, I guess, cheap enough. But the White Sox, they're sneaky. They've played good ball. I'm not sure I want to bet against them. Are you getting involved, Twins White Sox?
Probably not. We're looking at Matthews 135 maybe. And Savali's going for the White Sox, and you've already mentioned how much you love Aaron Savali. 8.5, slightly to the under in this game. Sebby Matthews, he changed the way he approached baseball this year. Last year, he was a guy that threw everything into the strike zone, and he got hit. He had a 6.69 ERA, 1.65 whip. This year, he's trying to overpower everybody, and he struck out 63 batters in 48 innings. He's been able to do that, but it hasn't really materialized for him. His ERA is still at 5.06, whip 1.44. Expected ERA is 4.06, so he's due for some little positive regression here. 90th percentile in strike percentage, whiff percentage 82nd, fastball velocity 84. He does throw the four-seamer 41% of the time at 96.6 miles an hour. And he does throw, he's got 6 pitches he throws, but mostly it's his fastball and his slider. Aaron Savali had some good years in Cleveland, but right now he's got a 4.88 ERA, 4.20 expected, 1.35 whip. He's in the first percentile in extension despite being 6'1". That's not a good thing. Ground ball rate, 12th percentile. This is probably a pretty good hitter's park for home runs. Fastball velocity, 17th percentile. The only thing he really does, he keeps the opposition a little off balance. Average exit velocity in the 76th percentile. Throws 6 pitches and is cutter 34% of the time. So in this game, I think there's a pretty sizable pitching advantage for Minnesota. But do I trust them when he's out? If I'm looking at this game at all, I'm probably looking at the first 5 for Matthews, and you're getting roughly slightly a little bit more, about a 140 favorite, as opposed to what it is for the game, which is about 135, as low as 128, I see some places. But if I had to play it, I'd play Minnesota first 5. But then again, you've got a team that's completely out of the playoffs, a very disappointing team. Tough to back those kind of teams at this point of the season, so I will pass.
So college football is starting this weekend, and this game, to reference to college football, this would be Eastern Washington versus Northern Arizona. 2-0 teams that have nothing to play for and will be a garbage game, but we can still make money on betting Eastern Washington sometimes, right? So take a look at the game. You know, first of all, who names their kid Zebby? Seriously, his parents need a mental health
his name's
check.
Zebulon. I think that's short.
My goodness. Who named this kid? Frank Zappa? What's going on here?
I don't know if it's his first name, though. I think that might be a
nickname.
Yeah.
I am from the planet of Zebulon. Anyways, so okay, he's got some wacky parents. So neither one of these pitchers really are striking me as being great. Got them both kind of toiling in mediocrity here. Savali's stats are just everywhere. I mean, he's got a low average against versus these batters, but his OPS is over 830, which means they're not hitting him often, but when they do, they're long balls. So I don't know what to make of this. And Savali has an even weirder stat. He's got a 3 ERA on the road and a 6 ERA at home. So pretty wacky, weird stuff that I can't make any sense out of. So I'm staying way away from this game. But The White Sox are hitting a lot better than the Twins. I have them rated 10 in current form, where I have the Twins rated 26. But the Twins bullpen ranked 16 and the White Sox bullpen ranked 20. So make of that what you want. But this is one of those just wacky pinball games that nobody has any idea where this is going to go. Maybe Adam has an idea.
Nah, I wish I did. I'll tell you, his full name is Daniel Zebulon Matthews.
Zebulon.
I'm glad he went with Zebby though, because like Dan Matthews, I feel like would just get lost in the shuffle, right? Like at least I know who we're talking about when someone
like the
says
Dave
Zebby.
Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Who gives their kid the name Zebulon, even for a middle name? Those parents are on crack.
That's a great middle name though. Yeah, I don't know where you come up with that, but
parents are smoking crack.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Bryan made a great point. Zebby shot up through the organization last year because he's older. I believe he went to Western Carolina. So he's like one of these 4-year college guys that didn't get to affiliated ball until he was like 23, probably 22, 23. So I think he started in high A last year, shot all the way up to the big leagues. And what Bryan mentioned was very true. Like he was able to cruise through the minors by throwing a lot of strikes and having this big fastball. But when you just live in the zone and you're at the big league level, you better either have some serious late bite to those pitches, or you better be able to command them within the zone, because otherwise living in the zone in the majors doesn't work typically. And if you catch too much of the plate, big league hitters are going to expose that. And that's what happened to Zebby Matthews. So he's really been trying to figure out how to throw more balls, really. But you can't just get wild and walk guys. So that's been the battle for him this year. I would say he's had, for the most part, success. Like if I'm the Twins and I'm looking at his season, I'm pretty happy with what I've seen. The numbers might not show that with the 5 ERA and the 144 whip. But, there's some games where start against the Nationals, 7 strikeouts, 6 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts. He had 9 strikeouts against the Yankees a couple starts ago. So, I definitely think it's there. The problem is, as much as I'd love to find a spot to play on him, how do you trust this Twins bullpen right now when it's all basically not not top guys? So they've traded away all their top guys, and they have a lot of their better guys are still at AAA. So how do you trust the guys behind him? A, and B, why would you ever want to pay any sort of premium price for this Twins team right now? Like if you're going to take a shot with the Twins, you've got to get him as an underdog. So even though I think this is a decent matchup for them, minus 135 to minus 140 is kind of crazy. So I would have to stay off. Go ahead, Bryan.
Just wanted to point in a weird scheduling situation tomorrow. Tampa Bay, it's a Saturday. Tampa Bay is not playing. The reason why they're not playing is they play at Steinbrenner Field, which is right across the street from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium. The Buccaneers play it tomorrow. So in order to make sure that the people don't have to battle going in and out of one and into the other, they decided to not play it tomorrow. So don't look for Tampa Bay on your schedule on a Saturday, which when was the last time somebody was not scheduled on a Saturday? Just very strange.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think that happened one other time for the Rays this year. I think they share parking too. So it's like, it would definitely be like logistical nightmare if that was the case. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Let's recap the parlay one more time. Bryan, what do you want to call even money for the Mets?
Yeah, make it even money now. You can still get, last time I looked, you can still get plus 107 at Pinnacle, but you can't bet that in the United States. So that doesn't help any of us.
TB, you want to give the folks a quick promo? I think Bryan's got a 5% going.
Mm-hmm. Bryan's got a 5%er, and my apologies to Zebulon's parents for saying they're smoking crack. Some would say I look like the guy who sold it to them. So my apologies to Zebulon's parents there. So Bryan's got a 5% out. I've got my MLB play out. Adam, is yours out yet, or? I gave the only thing I have out so far today on the show. Mets is a 4%er for me, but I will have something. But you know what?
Up.
But Adam usually puts a free play out, even if he doesn't have a play for sale. I have a free play up. Bryan is required to put a free play up. So we all have a free play up. So check our page out and also leave a comment on the replay of this show. It helps us out more than you know. Just take 10 seconds and leave a comment. We'll respond to them as well. You can tell us that we look funny or that we are terrible cappers, and we will respond. But we're not terrible cappers. Bryan's had 11 out of 13 winning days. Adam's number one the last 30 days, and I'm number one in 2025. So you can't really say we're bad cappers. You can say it, but it's not really true.
Well said, TB. I think that was well said. It truly, it just is. It's a grind, man. It is a grind, and we're just trying to help you guys with that grind. Share some info, and then for the crowd that says we don't give enough picks, I could have sold the Mets for $25 today. I just decided to give it to you guys for free. So to recap the parlay, 4%er for me is the Mets. We'll call it even money. Which I think it's probably going to go off -105 even money. So even money for the Mets. That is my parlay leg as well. That's why I'm talking about it still. Bryan Leonard's going Boston Red Sox team total over 3.5. And then we've got Tokyo Brandon going Rockies team total over 3.5. That comes out to +645. We started the week on Monday with a nice 3-teamer. Let's see if we can end the week with another 3-team winner. I think we fell one short yesterday. I think we were 2 of 3. So let's see if we can get it done. Listen, 1 parlay a week is fine. That'll keep us afloat, but 2 would be really great. So one more time, I'm on the Mets, full game. Oh, these are all full games. I'm on the Mets. Bryan's got Red Sox team total over 3.5. Tokyo Brandon Rockies team total over 3.5. Parlay plays 645. That's it for the week. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll be back Monday morning, 9 a.m. See you guys then.